Hello and welcome to What the Flick. I'm Matt, that is Kim, that is Jason, and oh my God, do we have stuff to talk about? I cannot believe Jackie is not here.
I know.
We're here to talk about episode,
or like on point, right?
episode 13, Vaulting Ambition of first season of Star Trek Discovery.
Yeah.
Damn, boom, heads exploding. Wow.
I cried in this episode.
So let me guess, Stamets and
Yes.
And Hugh.
Yes.
Paul and Hugh.
Hugh.
That was
not Culber.
Right.
Hugh.
Hugh and Paul and Hugh.
Was that the first time we heard his name?
I think so.
Yeah, because I was trying to think, like, did we know
Maybe.
his name was Hugh?
I didn't remember.
Right, so let's get right to what I think was one of the best, most emotional, best scenes was that scene where you get to see Paul Stamets find out that Hugh has died and kind of get the goodbye. And it's this very tender, really moving scene. And look, like I've seen some frustration online that this is another like kind of kill your gaze story, and I get that, but I was really impressed that they made that a really moving, really emotional scene.
Have you given up hope that Hugh is coming back at all?
I have not.
I haven't either. I don't believe he's fully
aren't.
dead yet because we've been hearing talk about the network and being able to transcend life and death, but that moment, it really did make me tear up because Wilson Cruz, it was such a sad moment, but he was so loving and hopeful, and he had this softness and kindness about him that it really moved me to cry. Like right before the kiss, I was just, no, it's not fair.
Yeah, Kim, I'm right there with you. I think Matt, you're so right as well. It was done right. You know, I being of the LGBTQ plus community, I'd interpret it as, oh, they're killing off another gay, because you have to think beyond that. I thought that, you know, we last season till now, we're always wondering, and like you said, I wish Jackie was here too. How are we going to arrive at all these theories and have it just play out so effortlessly and magically as it did in Sunday night's episode? Because everything we thought came to fruition, and it wasn't like it was someone in the writer's room had an aha moment and was like, boom, this is how we're gonna do this is how it's gonna go, and it was genius. As far as Stamets and Hugh, I thought it was done right. I thought the emotion was there. I thought it was well written. I thought that, yes, the LGBTQ plus component was prevalent, but it was so much more than that. It was a love story. We can all identify with losing a loved one. You know, it was very real, very relatable to me at least, and I almost shed a tear.
I did, full on.
Yeah.
Full on, we're like, Kim Kardashian ugly cry?
Yeah.
No, not like that.
I agree with you. That was a really emotional moment, as I said before. And I, for one, look, like from a long-term storytelling aspect, if we don't see any more of Hugh, which is gonna be sad for Paul, I actually think in a show like this, I'm really intrigued by the storytelling possibilities of seeing Paul Stamets trying to navigate dating, because we know he's gonna be terrible at it.
Right.
Right, and I think that that's gonna be potentially really interesting for his character, learning to kind of open up again, and brings a depth to his character that I think we were missing in early episodes early on in the season.
I don't know if he'll find someone who'll understand him the way he was, you know, because he said,
maybe not.
did I tell you I loved you enough? And he said,
oh, that was heartbreaking.
you showed me.
Yeah.
You know, that's someone special to say that. I don't know if I have that kind of temperament.
I would love to see, in just to wrap up the Stamets storyline with Hugh, I would love to see his grieving, his life thereafter, how because you can't, there was a lot going on in this episode to distract him from that. So when the adrenaline's done, when the storm has cleared, reality sets in, and it's like, how do you grieve? I would love to see that also be written, and not the rest of this season, but possibly next season.
Are we ready to move on to the
Sure.
next part? Okay, so Jackie was right about that tension that I didn't notice.
Was it with Lorca, and Michael? Yeah.
And Michael. I think none of us expected that Lorca was Mirror Universe.
I think some people did. I think it's going around the internet.
Look.
But I didn't know it was because of his obsession, love, lust for Burnham. That's it. I didn't see that part.
So
yeah, so with Lorca, you know, early on with Lorca, we get this guy that's like, man, this guy's ruthless, right? Like this guy's ruthless in a way that we hadn't seen in Starfleet, and we're kind of thinking, okay, well, it's because of the war, and all right, this could be a grittier take on it. It's like, oh no, turns out he's from the whole empire full of assholes.
Evil
That's
world.
why. Yeah. So does that mean that there's like a super chill Lorca out there somewhere?
There's like a nice
There
Lorca.
has to be the antithesis of what Lorca is now on this show, because didn't you guys, okay, fine. No, at first we were like, oh, what's going on? But wasn't your mind just blown with how they were able to just tie it up in this cute little bow? And you guys, this isn't even the finale.
No.
I know.
You know, so much more. And then the Lorca thing, I kind of, when they revealed, it made sense. It wasn't as big of a surprise for me. I was like, okay, cool, great. But Georgiou and Michael's exchanges were, I thought that was the most
really
poignant
good.
parts for me.
I really enjoyed those.
Yeah.
I'm going to continue saying I love the evil costumes, but I liked seeing Georgiou kind of change before your eyes, because at first it's like, oh, she's just really hard, she's tough, she's severe, and then you realize, oh no, she has maternal love. She does have this aspect of her, and she was trying to protect her daughter from her father,
right,
in this way, and I didn't see that part coming at all.
This whole mirror universe, being new to Star Trek, this whole mirror universe thing for me, it was one of those that could have either went really left, where it's like, this is corny and campy and stupid, but I found myself in this episode really intrigued by Georgiou and Michael's relationship, because there's betrayal, there's all these elements that are really detrimental, but yet there's this overlying, and maybe I'm wrong, a sense of forgiveness that I don't know, you try to put yourself in the shoes of the characters, right? I don't know if I could be that forgiving. Am I missing something?
I think there's this deep love between the two of them. And despite all of the cultural differences and the situational differences, I think that's just always there.
Right. And
no
also, eating Kelpians was also.
Oh, that's messed up. That is messed up.
Here, have some ganglia.
Did she, was it me, or did she pick the one that looked the most like Saru?
Yeah,
Right.
that's what I thought. Yeah, that was so messed up. When Georgiou says, oh, we'll do an exchange of information, I'm thinking, oh God, don't buy this. She's gonna betray you, come on. You can't trust anyone in the mirror universe, absolutely not. One thing I wonder if we're gonna find out, probably not, because this is probably a stretch, but those of us who watched Enterprise remember that the Empress for a while, who was using the Discovery to take over, was Hoshi Sato, who was another Asian character. So I can't help but wonder, like, are we going to find out that Georgiou is related? Is she part of that dynasty that happened, right? Because
a dynasty?
Maybe.
Like the evil Asian dynasty of Terran.
I mean, maybe there's a direct connection.
Right.
Maybe there's a connection that I don't know, right?
Did we finally get some closure on the Tyler, Voq, L'Rell trifecta?
I don't really understand what happened when L'Rell did that.
So L'Rell killed the Voq personality.
Right.
Right.
Implanted.
Because if you know this, that when Klingons die, the other Klingons in the room scream to the heavens, scream to the afterlife, watch out, here comes a motherfucker. Right? That's what happens, is they yell, they scream up at the afterlife. So that was my take on what L'Rell was doing, is she took that personality template out of Tyler.
It just makes this whole thing sound pointless.
Right, like
as to why they would do this at all.
Exactly, like was he to infiltrate? Well, he allegedly, or apparently, I guess, was to infiltrate Starfleet and to get behind the scenes, get behind the velvet rope. I always thought that storyline was just so over the top and really unnecessary, because here you have, he has PTSD. He goes in and out of being, hey Kim, hi, I'm Tyler. You know, it's just it was so like out of control, crazy. But my question was, because we now get an answer as to what Jackie, I guess, had predicted, that he was possessed by Voq. Or Matt, I think maybe I called it out.
We had seen some. Well, I thought he was a Klingon, and then somebody else.
I said he was get outed.
Right, and so we'll see what happens. Right, it seems like that plot would have been for Voq to steal the spore drive, right? And maybe Voq is so broken that that L'Rell is basically doing the mercy killing.
Well,
but that seems a weird ending.
The point of sending a Klingon in to be the spy, this infiltrator, why send the guy who's like the harbinger of light, you know, the dream of the future to do it? It doesn't make any sense to me.
I think more is going to be revealed.
I hope so.
It has to, and also his relationship with Burnham. You know, he tells her, hey, this is who I am. You know, this is what's going on. So, and I know we were all stands for their relationship. We wanted it to blossom, and I know that was one of the only redeeming qualities for Tyler, was his relationship with Burnham. So if that comes to a close, well, he could, you know, get a pod and bounce.
Well, is he? I mean, how much of that was Vogue pretending, and how much of that was it's not even the real Tyler, it's a copy of Tyler.
Yeah. I don't know. So much going on in this. So many questions coming out of this, right? I mean, the one thing that I've been kind of obsessed about all along has been, look, we know based on all the shows that are set after this that the spore drive is ultimately, if not a failure, it doesn't end up in widespread use, right? So at some point, canonically, they have to get rid of it, right? At some point in the story, it's gonna be like, yeah, you know what, this is too dangerous, this is too messed up, whatever. But then just this episode, like, okay, who takes over as captain of the Discovery? Because it ain't gonna be Mirror Universe Lorca, right? So does that mean Saru takes over as captain, or Tilly, Captain Killy?
No, not Tilly. She's fake.
We can't count out Tilly though, because ever since Tilly has just been evolving into this vixen that I'm actually liking. She's now more. She's confident, better hairstyle. We can't count out Tilly. But my question for you guys, being the true Trekkies, how do we exit the Mirror Universe then? Do you think?
They're gonna have to go out the way they came in, which is with the spore drive, right?
How did Lorca cross over though on his own? Could they use that method?
I mean, I think we're gonna find out, right?
If they figure out how the evil Lorca went to the normal universe, maybe they can utilize that same method.
Right, because in the original appearance of the Mirror Universe in Mirror Mirror, back in the original show, it was like a transporter issue, right? There was some kind of transporter accident. And then with the Defiant, and I don't remember how it happened. I'm sure somebody will tell us. Somehow they crossed over in an episode of Deep Space Nine. But in this one, look, like at some point it just becomes Deus Ex Machina. However, they just want to make it happen.
I mean, Stamets could play a big part of this too when he figures out more.
I stand by the comment that this episode, or maybe this season, was what we needed in the first half of the season, because we all admit it was a little shaky at first.
I was very so-so in the first half, but I am enjoying the second half a lot more.
Yeah, and the drama is just there, and for someone who hadn't watched a lot of Star Trek prior to, it was done right. Like even last night, I couldn't help but think about like, wow, this is brilliant storytelling. And I think that television, especially television behind a paywall that we have to subscribe to, should be compelling. And last night was on a scale of 1 to 100, 200% compelling. So I'm hoping for more, and no more eating of the threat ganglia. No, let's not do that. Come on. Terrible. And Georgiou, you had said that it was nice to see she was believable as a villain, because I always thought, she's kind of one of those actresses that could be kind of one note, could play the same type of actress in a lot of things. But last night, watching her, she was believable as a villain. Am I wrong?
I believed her as a villain, and I believed her as someone who had love in her heart, had this other side of her as well.
Because when go ahead, Matt.
I think Michelle Yeoh is a terrific actress. I think she often gets written into roles that can be stifling and require this somewhat, especially from a lot of times from Western writers, kind of the Asian wise mother character, right? Yeah. But she's a terrific actress,
right?
And so what I like is giving her the opportunity in this to chew the scenery a bit, because she's clearly having fun. Like, oh yeah, I'm Michelle Yeoh, I'm the Empress, I'm gonna kick everybody's ass, this is gonna be great, right? Like she picks up that thing and like—
Can you keep a secret?
Yeah, exactly. Yes, ma'am, I can.
Great, you're the governor of Andor.
No, clean this up, handle this.
Yeah.
It was great. It was the right amount of drama, sadness, and answers to all the questions we've had wrapped up in one. I'm excited to see where they go from here, though, because that was a lot. That was like a Super Bowl size episode. What could they possibly give us next? Exactly. Only up, far up and away. No, what's where no man has gone before? Does that?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, that's a thing.
Don't hate me. So they're like, wow.
Just don't be like in a galaxy far, far away. That's the other one.
Right. I will say, I love that here we are 13 episodes in and you, my friend, are hooked. Jason is totally hooked on Star Trek, which was part of this experiment, right? Like,
well, exactly.
What happens if we bring in somebody who's never watched any Star Trek? I think you're hooked.
Well, I am, and that lands on the, like I said, compelling television. If it's good, and it's great television, anyone can get hooked. And Star Trek is this franchise and this legacy that has so much weight that someone coming in new, it may be a little bit daunting for them to figure out, the mirror universe, who's so-and-so, these ships, the legacy and the history of Star Trek. But I think Discovery finally got it right.
Yeah. All right. So next week, what's gonna happen?
I have no idea. No idea.
And that's the beauty of it.
I love when we don't know what's gonna happen.
I want to find out what happened to the other Michael.
Yeah.
And the other Lorca.
Yeah.
The other everyone.
Well, just those two are like a mystery.
Yeah.
And I guess we're going to find out more about this gross relationship that I don't approve of.
Well, we'll see. Well, it is, of course it's gross. It's mirror universe. It's all gross. All right. Well, join us next week. We'll be back with episode 14. And it's who knows what's going to happen. At least we know we'll be.
This is the penultimate, right?
Yes.
Crazy stuff is going to happen.
Great word, Kim.
Yeah, second to last. Sounds way more impressive.
Right.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Wait.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.